that song coming from Seth Diamond. He says, don't put your trust in man because flesh will fail you, but the hand of God never fails. It's a beautiful Monday morning, and we thank God for being alive to see you and have a beautiful day with you. But of course, it's not myself alone. I have Johnny here, and he's dancing to that beautiful beat by Seth Diamond. Johnny, what do you think about it? I think it's a good
sweet. I mean, I think that the fresh breath of musicians that we have now are doing something special, and we must support them in every way we can. I'm looking for a day when we can fully have the art fund to support people like this. So you have a good song that can cross the borders of Ghana and go international.
And that's where we'll probably have a lot more on BET.
Exactly, not just BET, I mean, but even other local, internationally acclaimed platforms so you can have it. I don't see a lot more of that. There are a lot more hardworking Ghanaian musicians out there who say they are underground because they have no support. So if we're able to get them the good support, but it was a fantastic weekend. Fantastic weekend. It was the Pentecost Sunday was yesterday. It was fantastic.
And of course, Saturday they had the royal wedding, and everyone was talking about it. We had the fashion trends and
royal
simplicity issues. But of course, we always have that.
And then I saw simplicity not necessarily being cheap.
Right. No. So, it can't be cheap, Johnny. They don't even have an option.
So simplicity, yes, but the expense that comes along with it. I didn't see a bridesmaids. So you have a wedding, you have like 10 people following the groom and the bride. I didn't see that. I didn't see a color or theme for the wedding. The queen wore what she wanted to wear. Everybody wore what they wanted to wear. They just had to be there with a good spirit. I didn't see unnecessary decor in the cathedral. I don't know. I guess sat where they were told to sit. People were not crossing the aisle left, right, center with their 2x4 phones, trying to catch a glimpse of what was going on.
Well, you weren't even allowed to take pictures in there, so you couldn't even. I mean, when you're going to such a place, there are going to be rules and protocol, and it's going to be followed to the core. So you don't want to breach
it's somebody's special day.
Yeah.
When you go to somebody's wedding,
behave.
There's a cameraman or official cameraman. What are you doing with your 2x4 phone?
And it can really get annoying.
And there's a preacher man who now thinks that, in spite of the fact that he has assigned a counselor to you, he must spend a full hour trying to teach the bride how to cook palm nut soup.
Whereas I'm told you can't even remember what they preach pretty much of the time. So I think it's always nice to keep it simple. And particularly when it comes to the sermon, keep it brief so the little they hear it makes sense.
They
exactly.
Hear
remember.
Anyway, happy birthday.
Is here.
A happy birthday to Yabo Sompim. She likes AJ. Actually, she's in Enyinem. She's a teacher.
Can you give her my number? My mom is looking for a bride.
You can mention it. You have the opportunity to, so you can mention your number out there.
Am I a prince?
Are you a prince? She's not a divorcee, by the way. So.
But back to the royal wedding. The best part was when the pastor, the reverend, was preaching. You could have just seen the faces. It was giving memes for days. What
was the man saying?
But I thought it was good to have someone like that. It created a different culture that we haven't seen in the royal family, and so it was nice. But that whole blackness people are throwing to
usually if there's a wedding like that in the UK or Canterbury, whichever way it is, the Anglican priests there are very careful what they say because of
you measure every word that comes out.
Because of the queen and because technically the queen is the head of the church.
Yes.
Now this man comes from America, from the same church, and he shuts the queen out and he goes straight to what he wants to say. He doesn't care. And I felt so proud as an Anglican because he said what he had to say.
And he did say love is the fire. So let's keep it.
Lay down your swords and steady war no more.
Well, it's time now for the news, which will be coming up right after this. Good morning once again. My name is Anthony Jackson. Now, former President John Dramani Mahama has hinted of interest to lead the opposition National Democratic Congress in the 2020 elections as presidential candidate. The former president had been tight-lipped over his intention to contest the party's flag bearership after the defeat in the 2016 general elections.
In a Facebook post Saturday evening, the former president wrote, "To you, the teeming supporters and sympathizers calling and requesting me to declare my intentions for the future, I wish to assure you today that as a servant leader, I have listened to your calls and reflected. I will not disappoint you, even as we await the publication of the party's guidelines for selecting a new leader. The 59-year-old former Bole lawmaker is expected to make a formal announcement at the NDC's last unity walk in the Volta region. The former president would have to slug it out with former vice-chancellor of the University of Professional Studies, Professor Joshua Labi, former Trades and Industry Minister Ekospio Gabra, and veteran legislator Alban Badmin. John Mahama lost the 2016 polls to candidate Nana Akufo-Addo, making him the first sitting president in Ghana to lose a second-term bid. The ex-president, who has been leading a series of unity walks organized by the party in 9 regions so far, also congratulated the rank and file and executives of the NDC for their commitment and work rate in the reorganization process. He urged them to keep up the momentum generated from the unity walk.
Away from the NDC, let's head to the quarters of the MPP, where President Akufo-Addo says he will fulfill all his campaign promises to ensure his political opponent would have no message ahead of the 2020 general elections. He gave the assurance at the Esunafo during his tour of the Bono-Hafe region.
President Akufo-Addo said he is not surprised that his political opponents, who came out strongly prior to the 2016 elections to say the free SHS, the restoration of teacher and nurse trainee allowances were not possible, are the same people who argue that his administration in 16 months has not done anything.
Agriculture was on its decline when we came into office. And I'm planting for food and jobs program. Last year, 200,000 farmers were in the program. This year, it will be 500,000 farmers. The support Abandi Brekwafo, Bronga Hafo has the highest proportion of the support of any region in Ghana. 15%. Musomuye. Na cry free and we can use that money we import to develop our own agriculture in Ghana. We're on the way. I need your support for it to happen.
As part of his tour, President Akufo-Addo broke ground for the construction of an administrative block for the Esunafo South District Assembly and inspected the newly constructed bridge for residents of Asumura in the Esunafo North constituency. The president also commissioned the newly constructed special ward at the St. Theresa's Hospital at Fidium in the Sotivi South and inspected 68-bed hospital in semi-detached maternity block and the construction at Kenyase in the Sotivi North constituency.
Let's head to Medina, where residents and traders have resorted to dumping refuse along the median of the highway. Bags of refuse have been dumped beneath electricity pole along the highway. Here's a report by Richard Bright Addo.
Call it one pole, one baller, and you will not be far from right. Heaps of refuse placed under electricity poles at the Medina Zongo Junction. It is a growing phenomenon and a new strategy that residents and hawkers have resorted to in order to avoid paying for the disposal of refuse. Indications are that the offenders are certain waste collectors would certainly clear them once they are dumped on the median. On the median here are warning signs, but not deterrent enough to ward off perpetrators. The news team spoke to some of the people who live and do business close to the roadside.
We have volunteered people among us to monitor and arrest the perpetrators. Sometimes we arrest them and cane them. At times
night and you nobody able to warn them.
Sometimes they dump the refuse at our blind sight, but we try to monitor them and stop them.
This is the spot where the refuse container is usually placed, but at the moment there is no refuse container, and so what residents and hawkers do is that when they get here and they don't see anything here, they simply dump the refuse on the ground. Offenders, for no apparent reason, prefer to dump garbage on the ground. Public Relations Officer of the Lankwantanan Madina Municipal Assembly, Isaac Odum, who spoke to TV3 on phone, said several arrests have been made and the offenders prosecuted, but the situation persists. He said the assembly is devising other strategies to arrest and punish offenders. Richard Brightado, TV3.
Commuters using the Malam Kaswa Highway have expressed frustration over the delay in traffic. Here's a report by Selom Amenya.
Construction of the 500-meter drain is to address the perennial flooding in the area. Construction works, which began on April 30, is expected to be completed in 50 days. The first phase, however, was completed on Monday, May 14, paving way for the second phase, which started on Tuesday. Portions of the Malam Kaswa Highway have been closed to traffic to allow for the digging through of the main highway. The lane, which takes traffic off Kaneshi and Sakaman to Malam Junction and Weja, have been closed. Though the Odoko Police MTTD is on hand to ensure free flow of traffic, the second phase, unlike the first, has resulted in heavy vehicular traffic inconveniencing motorists.
There's too much cars and it's just too much. The traffic is just too much. It delays. It makes us always late for work and other stuff. If the government can do something, maybe another means of transportation.
It's unexpected. Usually from Kaswa to Accra, it's when we normally experience traffic at these hours.
Drivers want the contractors to speed up work. We set off over an hour ago, but have still not gotten to our destination due to the traffic situation here. On-site safeguard officer Patrick Delali assured motorists the project will be completed on schedule.
We are on track. We are hoping to finish within our 50-day schedule. They should just bear with us for within this short movement, and then after the work is done, we will be happy and then traffic will move smoothly.
The 6 million Ghana City project is funded by the World Bank and forms part of the $150 million Gama Water and Sanitation project.
Now, we need our mothers and women to take charge of our continent. These are the words of Ochehene Osajefo Amotiofori Penning as he called for a paradigm shift in African leadership. He was speaking at the Shiros Forum 2018, a platform created to assist, celebrate women of African descent and momentous achievement.
Home to 51% of world's untapped minerals. There's no continent, none, that has what we have. And yet, we're poor. We're poor because those who may have led us failed us.
The Ochehene was appalled at the state of affairs in the African continent after centuries of independence from colonialism. He bemoaned the situation where African leaders are blinded by selfish interest, greed and corruption, disregarding the impact of their actions on society and the country at large. According to Ochehene, it is time we invested in girl-child education rather than wait for the affirmative action bill to give women their rightful privileges in society.
There shouldn't be an affirmative action for a woman to get a job that she has worked hard for and qualified for. It must be a matter based on meritocracy. And unless all of us believe in those public values of equality and justice and freedom and human rights, maybe we're going to be far from it.
The 5th edition of the International Shiros Forum brought together women in academia, corporate, politics, business, social and all spheres of life to deliberate on the theme, Women's Leadership, Honoring the Past, Treasuring the Present and Shaping the Future. Various speakers highlighted issues of gender advocacy, aiming to leave attendees feeling invigorated, motivated and inspired to achieve greater change within themselves, their organizations and communities.
We need to consider a true paradigm shift, beginning by embracing all those in the margins, whether they are women or men or youth or those who are differently abled, because everybody has something to offer. And if we don't do this, we will be still stuck with the poverty, the illiteracy, the disease, misery, degradation, and the resolve never to march forward.
The three-day forum also celebrated the women achievers as well as provide a platform for networking.
You came to this conference and Joel Taylor had made it. You'd have realized that a woman made it to become vice president. From senator, she was first lady. So you can move there. It's seeing people who are like you, who are talking like you, who become these things, and it encourages you.
The International Shearers Forum platform was created to assist and celebrate women of African descent and their momentous achievement.
Now, over $75 million was paid by the Shippers Council for demurrage charges to shipping lines at the country's ports in 2017. The Ghana Shippers Authority considers the amount an avoidable cost in the goods clearance process, which is eroding shippers' profits.
The high cost of doing business remains one of the biggest disincentives to the growth of import and export businesses in Ghana. A major cost item is container demurrage, which has become a significant drain on the capital of import and export businesses. Demurrage charges are an avoidable cost at the ports, and which only comes into play if shippers are unable to clear their cargo generally within the first 7 days free period. Unfortunately, a number of shippers enter demurrage due to varied reasons, including delays in issuance of documents.
You know that you have imported goods. You should know when the goods will arrive. You should prepare the necessary documentation. Because obviously, if you present a document that is fraught with mistakes, customs is going to reject it. It's going to take another day to rectify. That's another day that you have to pay to the shipping line. So everybody along the value chain needs to do what they have to do.
Education forums are being organized lately with members of the Association of Ghana Industries to ensure that demurrage charges are reduced to the barest minimum. Collectors of demurrage, the shipping lines, have also defended claims that money needs to be collected because when goods are delayed by importers, it also affects their business turnaround time. Vice President of the Ship Owners and Agents Association of Ghana is Adam Imoro.
If a shipping line keeps on giving more free days and keeps on waiving or giving rebates on demurrage, he reports to his principal. What happens to Ghana? Everybody will say, what? We are not serious people. We are not efficient because demurrage is avoidable.
But the major shipping lines, the Association of Ghana Industries and GUTA have also blamed the clearing procedures, which still needs to be improved to save cost.
Now let's head over to Peve in the South Dai district of the Volta region, where traders have expressed disappointment over several promises made to give their market a facelift which is yet to be fulfilled. They accuse the district assembly of leaving the century-old market in a deplorable state despite collecting high levies.
Peve is one of the oldest communities in the South Dai district of the Volta region. The Peve market is one of the two oldest markets in the region, constructed more than 100 years ago. Years of neglect has left it in poor shape, despite trading being the mainstay of majority of women in the town and adjoining communities.
We have made several reports to the assembly, but nothing has been done. They keep collecting tolls, unconcerned about our plight. It is even worse during market days, as the roads in front of the market is taken over by traders due to the nature of the market.
They made some provisions since last year. They told us that, and we are getting to the middle of the year and nothing have started. So we are getting worried. If they don't do anything for us by June ending, then they will head off us.
But the district assembly says the market is high on its development agenda.
We want to see that we have a modern market. We have some diagrams where we think that we should maybe call it a better supermarket, not just an open space where people's wares are safe, where people can go and buy things in a hygienic environment, where people can have their children attended to whilst they are there. So a bank, a KG for the women, decent places of convenience. We have the diagrams and we want to achieve that.
Ernest Mallet also gave updates on the Eastern Corridor Road, which links up business activities to the district.
In the present state of the road, we've asked the highways to do something about it. They've agreed to come with a grader and at least take away the rough edges to smoothen it a bit, because we're seeing accidents daily on the road, every day. Either a vehicle has somersaulted or there's breakdown or the whole truck of yam load is down. A lot of accidents every day, and I think we should do something about it.
Meanwhile, the chiefs and elders of the area have urged the assembly to speed up developmental projects across the district to improve the living conditions of the people.
And finally, the chiefs and elders of Bevin traditional area want the Agric Ministry to return parts of the CSIR research land in the area to the youth for farming, since it is underutilized. The land, according to the chiefs, is not being used for the intended purpose.
Centers for research under the scientific and industrial research were established across the country to enhance food production in the country. The research center at Kleve, which has some 2 acres of land for research, according to the chiefs, is not being utilized for the intended purpose, thus the need to return the land to the community.
We are calling on the government. If the government alone cannot do it, they should, this PPP, private public partnership or something, so that the agri station is revamped to offer job opportunities for the teeming youth in the town. If it will be used for the benefit of the people, no. But if they will just leave it for individuals to be benefiting from it, then that one will not hesitate to claim it.
They also want bungalows at the center put to better use.
The station used to be the regional agricultural station for the whole of the Volta region. Some time ago, it was taken to a regional capital. But the infrastructure is still there from what you can see. We have huge buildings for poultry and other things. But nothing seems to be happening. They come and rehabilitate the bungalows, and nobody even lives in there.
Although the district chief executive agreed on the use of the bungalows, he disagreed the land should be returned to the community.
We need a research station. It's been there since before independence, and I don't think we should take it away. It is very important. The district is interested in going into agriculture. It's an agricultural district, and we can put it to very good use. The results from that place and also the effort that they can bring to the assembly is, for me, enormous. The planting for food and jobs, they are supporting it in many ways. They are producing planting materials for cassava. The planting for export and rural development. We want to go into cashew, we want to go into oil palm. And we have to develop the nurseries. That is where we do it.
And that's it for the news for this morning. Newday returns shortly after the break.
Welcome back. Happy birthday to you, Yabusumpim at Enyinema, and also to you, Roland Kwao. It's your birthday today. If it is yours as well, happy birthday. Front pages of the dailies for this morning says, Today newspaper reports that the Nasara coordinator is hopeful to donate to Chief Imam, and election 2020, Mahama breaks silence. Zongo chiefs donate to Nsawam prisons, and ISF Bank to become GN Bank USA in July. That's the banner headline there on the front page of the Today newspaper. The Gold Street Business this morning reports that reinvent or risk being disrupted. Bank of Ghana governor tells the banks there, you need to flow with the tide or forget about it. New Eurobonds take public debt over 33.55 billion. That's interesting then. Tamale Airport Phase 2 to take off. Aviation Minister announces as family of late General Emmanuel Kwesi Kotoka calls on her. And the Registrar General is worried. Of course, the front page of the Independent newspaper says, corruption is reducing under my tenure. That's a bold statement by the president. What do you have to say about that? We'll find out. And Mahama bows to pressure to contest 2020 elections. Right there on the front page of the Independent. The Economy Times says, government prepares to allocate new oil blocks and trade surplus narrows slightly as government records 1.3 deficit for first quarter, but public debt now over 148.3 billion Ghana cedis. Interesting on the front pages. These are.
To touch on something that today's story highlights, the Songo chiefs donating to Nsawam prisons, but also extended to all the donations to the many, say, foster homes, prisons, you know, those institutions that need the support. When these things happen, what I'm worried about is whose hands these donated items get into, because oftentimes we hear the report where the people at the helm of affairs take it and abuse it, and the prisoners themselves or the people who are supposed to get the items don't really benefit from it. And I'm looking at the system because when it comes, obviously it's the warden or the caretaker who's in charge who receives the items in the name of, say, in one prison. But whatever happens, the accountability processes thereafter don't seem to be too strict, and so everyone gets away with what they do. But we realize that there are real situations and very hard times in prisons. Last week, there was a report on the number of prison inmates compared to the capacity of these prisons, and the fact that there is obviously an excess, and so the little they get from these items really goes a long way to improve or at least give them some hope, because you've got about a capacity of 8,000 occupying 14,000 overall across board in Ghana, and that seemingly is, I mean, it definitely will go to abuse a human right one way or another. Of course, you've even got their abuse before they even get into prison, where your case is not listened to before you get there. But when these things go, at least let the wardens, let the people in charge have that compassion towards these people, because it's very depriving to be in that situation. When you compare our prisons to elsewhere, it's not the same. People actually even commit crimes to want to get into prison because at least they are short of a meal, they are short of good accommodation, shelter, apart from the usual, you know, hard times where you have to fight some gangsters off and all that. But those are the real things that happen, and I'm worried that we have to look at our institutions holistically, because despite all this, when they come out of prison, we tend to make hardened criminals because of the circumstances that surround the prisons. And I'm looking at a time where we say prisons have changed. They're no longer that packed sardine kind of way. People can lie down, whatever. Yes, they have committed crimes, but I don't think it means they are to die there and just go there and wallow away. I think that Amnesty International has been talking about some of these things, and we have also been championing it. I believe that some of these donations, yes, they are good, but it is the responsibility of the state, first of all. Prisons, foster homes, whatever it is the responsibility of the state to ensure that these things are done. And I've been asking questions, for example, I mean, because I had a privilege to live with a father who was at the helm of affairs at the prison service. He tells me that most of our prisons in this country are not cut to fit. They are not, like, not the standard prisons. They are either leftover forts and castles or buildings that were put up, but not necessarily, you know, cut to fit prisons like we have, you know, elsewhere. So the question of reformation itself is kept in the balance. Add to that, you have people who, you know, they have a 2-bedroom apartment. They decide that they are starting a motherless baby home, and they start it, and there's a booming intake of the children because they find them over and about, and they would want to keep them so that they keep getting some of these donations. So as a state, what is our policy standpoint when it comes to treating people like this? Because look, somebody may have committed a crime, yes. He may have been found guilty by the court, yes. Or maybe he didn't have a good lawyer or whatever it is, and so he's been kept in prison. What is the essence of keeping the person in prison? Is it to harden the person to become a terrorist, sort of, and a more dangerous person to society? Or is it to reform the person? Now, you go to the prisons and you find people who, somebody maybe pilfers a person's phone, another uses a gun to steal a car, and they are kept in one place. So the transfer of information.
Exactly, and the kind of relationship that they have. Say they're supposed to spend 6 months and 4 years. By the time the 6 months is elapsed, this person has new ideas. He's coming out to what? To what prospects? And a society that has a lot of stigma and everything that comes along with it, we need to wake up as a people. Our social protection standpoint and policy is not sitting right. And if we don't get that right, we will be building some more, difficult moments for ourselves. Look, our quality of education is dropping. And I know the folks at Ministry of Education, Ghana Education Service, maybe the accreditation board will disagree. But if the quality of the education keeps dropping, it means that patients will die at the hands of those doctors, because these people would have been allowed to cheat the system and the process. They would have been allowed to copy an exam. Okay, so if they become doctors, people will die at their hands. If they become engineers, buildings will collapse at their hands. If they become police officers, they will be corrupt. If they become judges, people would be jailed wrongly and whatever it is. So you don't really need arms and bombs to collapse a nation. If the quality of the education drops, the social protection is not there, people are hungry and everything, you are festering danger for yourself as a people. I had an opportunity to go to the Tema station. The Tema station sits right by the court complex. So there's a Ghana Health Service there, there's a national the National Lottery is there, there's the National Hockey Pitch there. It's a very, even just large office. Now, the Tema station was built with the notion that the sheds that are created are supposed to be for those who are coming to get a ride to go home or to whichever destination they choose. Today, the sheds have become a marketplace. And I felt so bad where people had to stand in the rain waiting for their vehicles while the traders sat under the shed. It's actually become a permanent selling place. They are braiding hair, they're selling tomatoes, they're selling used clothing, all manner of things. And guess what? The AMA comes to them to take tolls. Now, it is the AMA's duty as the custodian of the lorry park to ensure that they are the customer. If I go to get a Trotsky, I sit under the shed. It's the other way around. Why? Why must it be so?
But even before AMA gets into the compound, Johnny, have you seen the gutters that lead there?
It stinks.
It stinks. It looks nasty, to say the least.
And it is right in front of the Ghana Health Service. This is the same Ghana Health Service that tells us that malaria is bad, that cholera is bad, and they'll be going from media station to media station, releasing whatever it is and telling us what it is. What kind of collaboration exists between them? Mind you, there is a health official at the AMA's office. So as a matter of agency, as a matter of agency, look, this is what I saw at Tema Station. Anybody who goes to the Tema Station will know. I was so sad that we are endorsing an illegality. The sheds are supposed to be for those who come to get a ride to go home. It's supposed to be a transit point, a waiting place for them. It's not supposed to be a trading point.
Well, it is.
The whole Tema Station is so dirty, it's so stinky, and there's no renovation. We are just living. We are living just like that. We're living. We're living. When it was refurbished, okay, they did the nice pavement. It was beautiful. It was just like the now Kwame Nkrumah Circle. 10, 20 years down the line, it's rubbish.
You wouldn't even want to walk there if you didn't have anything to do. Like, you didn't need a vehicle to pitch to get home. You wouldn't want to even pass by. But talking about the renovations and the whole system in total, I happened to use the Malam Junction yesterday, and so I experienced the traffic they're talking about. And I mean, kudos to the MTT or the police that helps to manage the traffic. I mean, they're doing well. I was impressed with the fact that they were able to control the traffic well. But what I'm worried about is when these road maintenance and, reconstructions are happening, do we really think about the diversions that we create? Because the roads there are oftentimes bad. Johnny, let me tell you, I use the Achimota Akweteman strip often because now, when they change the the road along the main Achimota motorway, you can no longer use the turn at Melcombe, which used to be. You could turn there to get into Azuma Nelson's area. Now you can't do that. If you decide to use that same road, then you have to go and turn at the Mile 7 roundabout, which is always riddled with traffic. Exactly. So what people will do is use the Akweteman bypass bypass. But the road is terrible, and you see trucks even use it. And that's where I'm worried about what kind of roads are trucks allowed to, use, and where is it only commercial vehicles or private vehicles? Because elsewhere you have it. It's clear cut. A truck knows I can't go on this particular road because it's only an access route or that. But in Ghana, every road is a road. Every car
even
can pass
the Kwame
it.
Nkrumah interchange, the Mahama, the Dubai.
Yeah.
You have trucks with heavy load going on it. What's our policy? Anyway, happy birthday to 3 special people. Reverend Dr. Delali Boja, this from Babina Finwalker. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday to you, Reverend Dr. Delali Boja. It's your birthday. And to Roland Kwao and to Yabu Sumpim in But we're ranting about, we're talking about
President Mahama.
Exactly.
He has given a few hints here and there about leading the party into the 2020 elections. But we don't know what you have to say about that.
The oil city is ready with Eric, and they're standing by the oil city.
Yeah.
You know that the western region, central region, Greater Accra, swing regions.
Right.
So let's measure what the people in western region have to say about it.
Yeah.
Whether President Mahama should come back because he's contending with Professor Joshua Labi, Ecospio Gabra, and Alban Bagbin.
Right.
I don't know if there will be any more surprises that will.
But I think most of the views I've heard from people there think anyway. But my view wouldn't matter at this point. Let's go out to Takrady and see what Eric is saying out there with you on the streets.
20 general elections. Now, the former president will have to beat competition from others who have also declared their intention to lead the party in the 2020 general elections. This morning on Daily Rant with me, Eric Yeweje from Takrady, we want to find out from some gentlemen I have with me here whether it's a good call, whether President John Dramani Mahama, former, is the right choice going into 2020 elections. Mind you, the current administration of Nana Akufo-Addo has accused former President John Dramani Mahama of superintending over corruption and wanton dissipation of state resources. You can also join us on our various social platforms and post your comment there, and those in the studio will gladly read them for you. Mpocho Akwaba?
Yeah, ja.
Mpocho, uncheli biana yehun there post biaba for Facebook. Yat what's there ofi mampayinda do John Mahama ho the opadel o lead NDC 2020 about to know. But awe hunden.
Oh, so almost had the mama baby mudia and ya the betimi win because obi a oye current president na yetimi agi power na free nsem there because wadwuma na wo ye no na enkoye enu tuna ma omu yi power na free nsem no enti aso mu hwe obi foforo se mama baby mu a enya de abeboa NDC for enti omu hwe obi foforo no mo fa ne mla.
Who say?
Oh, eja, yam former president. I don't know what amendment no. I'm going on try to into so sad to be dam. Yes, there was also we win election because tell our power no. None of maybe to share the schedule. I don't know. Our quad or amendment. It is also our bim that Ghana young tumpo yonko in any bill.
I'll say then.
Well, within the NDC, he is the best candidate. Onoye the most popular person, and currently, only party for Nikaza. Also know all the resources. And for the NDC as a party, as we stand now, no, President Mahama or the ex-President Mahama is the only person or popular within the party, or what the requisite resources, both financial and the popularity within the party. Obey me abua party no. Until no, and so mutime edeneba. But Osha. For the NDC as a party, no, politically, it's not good for them in general, because Obakrana in a hypothetical situation, no, it means that he will only have to do 4 terms, 4 years, or 4 years. You are now going to spend additional resources to train or to make somebody popular within the party, and for me, no, it's not good. I mean, history has taught us. In Ghana, no, after 8 years, and there's a likelihood that there's a new party coming into office. Until left to me alone, they should look for somebody who is fresh, who is energetic, and who has the ability to unite the NDC and move the party forward. But, well, party for now, but politically, in general terms, on would be so be the disadvantage outweighs the advantage of bringing John Mahama as the flag bearer of the NDC.
member NCF, if I say, yeah, what's there on your good choice? I also, if you don't have a good choice,
that's what the kind of. Two more than one painful in here. Why be done? Well, and so no waba. You know, Biana, man, all about waba. And so no, and painful feed the Biana. Mwabe no yamon, but in answer, you were outside no. You won't never be unquay. And so one person will feed away one argument and I say, well, man, never be a finance will feed over for now. Oh, wow, but try me no, Mamma, yeah. I didn't know yet. Never be, but I'm coming to Cabell because I was going to Japan was in India. About was in India, but up by Yam and Tabano, up by the phone. But I be Paris, Bibia, ye be no man on swing out. But I was here, Mamma in India, here in India, oil. And so no time will change now.
Mama, oko opposition, oko only opportunity biana, also there or there MPP governments and there what's it them yedam, what's it them yedam. CCNA mini power no won't prosecute him. And see, we throw challenge or dama NPP for no because mostly no nkofu pide walika there at kunta ontum ombabi oni there odiska or yedam. And see them asemia all can challenge we throw ama MPP. If you do MPP for it also ma.
MPP for omo abotrawo eniema bi ho kire se de ntia meka sa no se wo hwe challenge na ma eturo na so mo ka se omo fiti plakope ateki ahia edin sem pp ne beba na mama o se omo fa ne kokoto a Ghana hanso no emlem no se president wo free so a ye wo number of years bi ansa na ye de wakokot enti ye hwe government no aban no o sisi ani ye hwe no say number of years in so na mama deserve say onko court a emla sikwan omo de no be because on so nche emla no o hye emla na se obi a hye emla se o Ghana se ti say time no so no de no court no yom de no be na ne nsem na o keka ne ade de corruption ne mama no no di kan because minimum crap on me ti maka say merchant bank e kon fa so to merchant bank kra no utimi say
nso nya no otoni o ete de wasa no otoni
na se obi Ghana Japade ona so mo ton wa na edi ani mo ton me be say president no na o go ahead ansa na obi atimi edi akire because bangi so obi aba no se wo de 2 series aba me de beto bank no wo se wonje wonu de 1 cedi 50 pesos ba ya waje e kire say bibi hyase a
Sumbo ne
yamfambo president mama
me bi so asemo me fende e car owner enwa na se wo e the car no e da ma driver do on fanye adwuma na driver no o the car no kwa ewi na se wo kye na agitum de wa kye no wo so car owner no wonche wonka wa
me pa cho car owner no emle bia abandon before din be fem but car owner no woni ahukire bia titru an se onya driver na odi car no ko ewi na e de kwasha police for nsa car owner no we save
nta be din tina yemfen de ne former ministers mum na yembo won sombo na former president Mahama mum na yebon so
me pa cho se yasi pani a wotena fie e men kwalare nanka na yebu nanka fa aka ho bi wono wa ma go ahead se omonton bag na enka ministers intimi for mo pe enton
wo se
me be da kan na kwa si ya hwe former president Mahama ayaya na me kun ontwe kwa nkanka fuel nsamsam na riku obe also about the things about mo adan wa ba fom be ya hwe na do fuel price na ekeyu car port na there do duties na do all so no so to me dey so o sanso power biom da me ya hwe da Ghana obokoye kwa
in your estimation do you think that the president did really preside over corruption and he mismanaged the economy? If he
well, the buck stops with him. I mean, on the head, as far as government affairs is concerned, and in one way or the other, no, we bet me blaming no. But sometimes you see when you don't have the qualified people would also bring up some of these things. It could also mean that some of his appointees, I'm one papa. Also information outside need different from what a minister who has direct access to the president will tell him. And I'm sure, say, one year a lot of investigations about Nyeman Bebrano as the then president, and he picked those information as a sacrosanct one, and of course a Kotiano. Until one way or the other, yes, me blame, but if you really want to scrutinize in Yamapa, okay, as you hold each and every minister accountable for their actions and inactions. As we speak, some of the ministers are in court. Some of the ministers are in court as we speak. Obiti say Abugapele Nekom, Dr. Kwabno Puni, on say or court near there. And when we're beginning to roll out some of these in Yamana, say you must show Binsa as a minister, as a state agency CEO, and as a Penmubi de Gumbiano. Nipano will not look like, oh, Mary Potoma, President Mahama, Mary Potoma, Nana Kufado, Inti, or Mona is a become as a chomo. As some conform say, oh, because of or minor. Inti, Mifilisa, from now onwards, instead of say, blaming ye president, any certain leaders, and I see a share or more the primary source will be a ban in Chan direct. Some conform and see a share na Yedno Moody.
Inti, Sisiano, our so what can they to NDC for? Abe afutu na demo.
Madasi. NDC se mutu mfo pa. Ni afutu kaseba kwa man pa ya. Ai. Saba yamba pa asedun katia. Ono wo de afutu okwa man pa na kasa no.
About the fact that Wopede Yenra, former president Mahama, we declare an intention there. Well, it's a Facebook poster all shared there. Opodo declaring intention. We've not really verified the authenticity of the post. In Simpedam who they say, I'm finding our NDC ni pain. Na atse ehu post here. Our abana monebo to.
Yaba panos or ten from Kakra. Go babon. Because abana mo ala bibitra eyin bilibi enwa eyin bilibat aba wamboa transi na obi foforo mla. Na yensu yanhwe no subano. So no ban bobo aba fine because esha enwura dem mbrada kan MPP na be o pepele ho obenya botele wo de amawa na wora maba no wo ba out se ma wo be kan enwura o asema ato aso document kwa kama amonya bota no be fufuru mla.
But we see schools why a P de Kokoro P a Courage Hospital why and Kama sisi akọ UG Hospital and sisi aso circle interchange most why and a few other things inti Esha oye adwuma pa ana we hu da oye adwuma.
Oh ya papa na oye adwuma se me mekere wan oye adwuma na kire me ebuna oye adwuma because aya enya schools nkoten so na anana be na car ko na obama impan omanu mu adwi oda ndama so bofom enwa ya ndama no boye de hwe petrol Ghana so bibia bakwa former of petrol because petrol no kwasora ni all of car no olusu bibia no kwato ni obakwa adre ko no obakwa na wade kakra to do aba no so osu ente no mama ofile obama bibia ko former oboto aba.
Okay. Finally, Abasamna, welcome.
Well, finally, again, President Mahama is being misinformed by some of his appointees. Who says some of his appointees in Ibioha, it is alleged that ye more resources as Uncle Fono, Omu Entime and Fine Yajumama party and my power. Indeed, they are doing some of these things to convince the man so more than one donor. I don't know on Samra. For me, no, me feel on a broader stakeholder engagement. Now, on share the positive and the negative. But for me, the politically, then, me feel different. They should bring it.
I'll say.
Me bacho mama mum de ni kwan so sabe bi.
Okay.
Mama baby.
The same to mama baby.
Okay. So you had the views of the gentleman, and unanimously they think that it will be a bad omen for the NDC should they go ahead and elect the former President John Dramani Mahama as their flag bearer. But before we take leave of you, I'm on this stretch they've called the Fidel bypass, where drivers plying this road are saying that this morning they are not going to work. They are not going to work because they are saying that the construction of this road has delayed. For 10 years, they've had to endure with the poor state of the road. So this morning, they are not going to work. I have with me one of them, and I want to find out exactly what is their problem. Mpocho, abedintina and the person on you.
Ni nyina ye twa ne tia a ekwan em say na so ye won be almost 4 years ni and em say President Mahama say we the kwan ama contract ama contractor e be ye kwan no ampa yehu say contractor ne the machines abegu kwan so otutu kwan so bubu nkwafo stores otutu nua bebre o kwan so yerin so ye ni age because yehu say ye kwan no ase a obeya amaye otutu enua no tutu kwan no so wie no yehu hwe yehu ya so obesesa ne machine ye so okọ pristia saman boy ono okọ adwuma adenti a yase President Mahama say oni vote or hanum say pristia ne saman boy no oni vote enti onko man wanya vote onum. Okay, after election, Obeba, yes, you watching him.
In the CCR, no 1 year Juma. Says Aberdeen no more Juma.
Says, ye party. Say, the other say, Juma, say, a quano, say a cast. Titin say, Ufa Obia or Yam, Edeneko Hospital. Massa, who drive an crampona and yon animal, who be Philippines summer, Nipo on Yamino, Ufobia, surgery, and I know operation, say, Uncle Trascana. At the first year, every hospital, and some bedroom station here, what me change second year. Just never appeal for the far who I came. Just an idea at Titian, drivers no because of a quaintino. Count as baby, I did drivers in the car.
See, me pede mu de abade no mama. What's someone I dream why you dream?
Says ye, ya person and then watch no. Ye be beach and penny for no contract no. Amo mu say any ye use to kwa we say pan. Yes, ye ni abre say e kwa no omo me man ansa na ye adwuma. Me pa chaw say and then watch no. Ye ya nya adwuma no. Ye be mo 1 week. After 1 week no see ye hu senkyereni bia okwan so dia. Ene de be ba no enya asumdue. E kwa no block de be block no.
So that is one of the drivers demonstrating about the poor state of the road. This has been your daily run from Takrade, somewhere Fijai. My name is Eric Yawaje. You can go onto our various social media platforms and post your comment there, and those in the studio will gladly read them for you. Thank you very much for watching.
Welcome back, and the Daily Graphic is reporting this morning that anxiety rises in football circles as an ads video exposes corrupt practices. And watch out, contaminated fuel on market. Evangelist 42 wins MTN Heroes of Change 4, and Mahama hints of comeback, eyes NDC flag bearer slots, and Finance Ministry endorses Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority contract. Those are the stories on the front page of the Daily Graphic. The Finder this morning reports that raw over $89 million 5-year contract in Money and Communications Minister in heated exchanges. Finance Ministry endorses GPHA contract with APSTEC, and Mahama hints of contesting election 2020. My opponents will have no message by 2020, according to President Akufo-Addo. And Samira rallies Ghanaians to give charity. The Ghanaian Times this morning says, I will contest 2020 election, according to Mahama, and support police to enforce law. President says to the citizens up there in the Brang-Ahafo region. Daily Guide, I will lead NDC 2020. Mahama declares. That's the banner headline. Pages 3, 6, 8, 12 and 13 carried the story. Interesting. And my opponents have no message, according to President Akufo-Addo. And Finance Ministry, OK, study container terminal contract. Finally, the BNFT for this morning says maritime boundary with Togo needs attention. Energy economist is raising a red flag, and Ore mines an emerging glory, and policy rate cuts could disturb banks, according to Dr. Lord Mensah of the University of Ghana Business School. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Let's start off. So, President Mahama is in the news. He says he would contest 2020. We know that he has 4 strong contenders. How does that come to you, Lawyer George Law?
Well, interesting. Let me say good morning to our cherry viewers. And, interesting. First of all, I think that in as much as we are reading ostensibly from his Facebook page, I think that he has indicated strongly that when the time comes, he will make a formal announcement. Right. And I am still looking forward to the very formal announcement.
This is not formal enough for you?
Well, the indication I got was that at the appropriate time he will formally announce his candidate.
After
he hasn't done
after
that.
the 2016 defeats, all the regional chairmen went to him. Subsequently, we've been having pockets of groups within the NDC go up to him. His post says he has heard their consistent calls, and you think that's not enough?
You see, that is an indication.
Okay.
But I'm saying that I would rather wait for a very formal call.
So what will constitute a formal call?
Well, the event, possibly the platform. You know, I think that President Mahama knows what's at stake, and that he would find a very formal occasion, you know, to communicate to the rank and file of the party and to Ghanaians in general that I have taken the decision now. Just about a day to this post, there was another post where he says that he's still concerned about reorganization. And so, you know, he wants that process to. And if you read the post that, in which he also talks about the fact that when our party processes are about to take, he would, you know. So I'm saying that yes, this is an indication that he's about made a decision, but he'll communicate that formally. I said I'm waiting for the formal.
You're waiting for it. So the unity walks and all the speeches that emanate from it doesn't add up. It constitutes.
Well, the unity walk, or the purpose for which the unity walk was done, had been communicated fully to everybody. That the unity walk is what it is, a unity walk. An attempt to bring on board everybody who had issues. But
the things he says on the platform of the unity walk tend to be more towards campaigneering than the unification.
I think that at the unity walk, he echoes the feelings of the masses of the party. The president has an office day in, day out, like you yourself said. Groups go and visit him, they discuss all manner of issues. So on those platforms, he just re-echoes the general feeling of the party. And don't forget that whether we like it or not, being the immediate past flag bearer and president, you know, he is the as one the most famous face of the party today, and therefore he's leading the unity walk, as it were, or being the face of the unity walk for us, helped us as a party to galvanize the masses and to bring everybody on board. I don't know if you attended any of the unity walks.
I have, the one in the Shanti region.
Yes, and
cover it,
yes, and you went to cover it, and you saw.
I saw it, but there's other contenders that feel that they're disadvantaged because they don't get a chance to speak to the people as much as President.
Yeah, but if you want to do that,
it's more like a platform.
I'm saying that if they want to do that, you engage the organizers. Everybody knows that President Mahama is not the organizer of the.
Does Mr. Mahama stand a chance of coming tops at the impending elections, in your opinion?
He starts as favorite. No two ways about that. No two ways about that. He starts. I mean, if you're a political watcher, you sit back and you do your analysis properly. Your first point would be that he stands tall among the contenders. But it's politics. So, I mean, being the lawyer that I am, I've always told my clients that I don't tell my clients, Charlie, this case there, you win by all means. You know. But whether you like it or not, you stand tall.
The president said because he's fulfilling all his promises, because corruption is reducing under his governance, his contenders or competitors will have no message by 2020. And that would include Mr. Mahama if he becomes flag bearer. How does that come to you as well?
Well, I want to smile and just tell myself it's up to him. Ghanaians would have a decision.
Did the president speak to the real picture on the ground?
Of course not. You know
I
the
don't
real
know.
picture.
I'm asking you.
No, but you know the cries, the hues and cries of everybody. You know the complaints. You know that 1.5 years down the line, no tangible thing has been achieved.
Free SHS is not tangible.
In what form?
Interoperability is not tangible.
Come on. Interoperability.
No, I'm asking.
It's not. I mean, all these things that they are talking about are not new. They are not new. They've done nothing novel.
But
and
paperless ports is.
We started paperless ports long before they came into power. So all these things, I'm saying that they are riding on what we have achieved. Okay, And all the projects that the president commissioned, which one of them was a project he started when he went so nothing.
So he deserves no credit at all.
Why? If somebody has done work and you come to commission, in fact, the credit must go to President John Mahama.
Government is a continuum, isn't it?
Yes,
is that not what you say?
But you give credit to where credit is due.
So in 2020, you have a message.
In 2020, we have a message for Ghanaians.
The president said you don't have a message.
No, he cannot
because
determine.
of how fast and well he's working.
Well, that is up to him. But we have a message, a clear message to Ghanaians, you know, and that message will come. But even before that message comes, we have our work cut out for us. Ghanaians can see what John Mahama delivered.
And yet you lost.
Yes, because
by a huge margin.
Yeah, because they were misled into believing that the real magicians are out there. The magicians are in power. And when you do the analysis, they have come nowhere near.
Finally, let me ask, don't you think it's too early for both President Mahama, President Akufo-Addo to be making such statements aimed at 2020? We're in 2018. There's a lot of issues. Don't you think?
For President Akufo-Addo, well, he chooses the time and seasons where he makes his statements. But I'll agree with you when I say that if I were him, I cannot go around making these statements, particularly looking at what is on the ground.
President Mahama must abide by saying as a statement.
No, President Mahama's own is different. Don't forget that in 2018, we have to go to Congress and elect a flag bearer. Because our constitution says 2 years before the general election. So really, he is even behind time. That is why in recent times, people are calling on him to come, make the declaration quickly if he wants to contest. Others have made it already. Others have made it known already. He is the one behind time. So for him, I believe that he's behind time. If I had my way, he would have made a formal declaration yesterday. Okay. Then we know that the stakes are.
But for President Akufo-Addo? For
President Akufo-Addo, he has what is it called? He's not going to election in 2018, and we are saying that from the look of things, if I were him, I would not do, because on the spreadsheet he has done less than 20% of what he promised Ghanaians.
I hear you. Council, let me come to you now. Can we put the two issues together? First, President Mahama, his chances, and the fact that he says the people have called on him to come back. He has heard them, and he will make an emphatic statement in due course. Don't you think he has made the emphatic statement already?
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to all our viewers out there. First of all, Mr. Mahama's announcement doesn't come as a surprise. His intention to stage a comeback was well made known, even in his speech conceding after the elections. And with all the unity works, as my colleague said, clearly the man wants to have another bite. But look, as whether or not constitutionally he's qualified to stand is another matter for another day.
He's not qualified to stand?
I've not said so. I'm saying whether or not.
What do you know?
I don't know anything. I'm putting out a scenario. We are having a debate, aren't we? Right. Yes. I'm saying that whether or not he's qualified to contest as a flag bearer.
Is he eligible?
I don't know.
From a standpoint of the law. I don't know. Opening the constitution, flipping pages.
I don't know. I mean, that's why I'm saying that whether or not is another matter for another day. Yes.
They say when lawyers speak like this,
so let's leave that one.
They have their foot on the stone.
Let's leave that one there. Two, yes, he's their best choice. I mean, if I'm being objective. Because when you're talking about politics, you're talking about marketability, visibility, and all that. To the NDC, maybe I'm sure the grassroots would have him as their first choice. Because they may know we've marketed him before. We've also faced the same scenario that look, Nanado was our candidate 2008. You know, you wouldn't want to risk a new face because it's a national election. So if the NDC rank and file of the opinion that Mahama should be their candidate. Well, it's a matter of their in-house political decision. It would be an obvious
the other 4 that are coming with him also have some pedigree.
Well,
former vice chancellor.
It's not for me to assess them. It's their party matter. But I am saying that politically, the NDC rank and file would think that they are better off with Mahama as a candidate. If you calculate from 1992 to 2016, we've had the NDC ruling this country for 16 years. Now, as a party, they've had 2 sets of 2 terms. I will be surprised that in their heart of hearts, the NDC will think that they have a legitimate expectation come 2020 to rule Ghana again.
Why not?
Well, I will explain to you. Because you see, you just left power. You just left power. You've had 8 years. You had 8 years. And this government is just in for its first term. Reasonably, for purposes of comparing whether or not the NPP is doing better than the NDC. I mean, you need to put us on the same scale.
Right.
Now, go back to history. NDC had 8 years, 92 to 2000.
Right.
And Kufuor came, and also an NPP came and had another 8 years. At the time NPP was leaving office, Ghanaians could compare. Let's situate it on issue of social intervention policy, for instance. At the time NPP assumed office, with all the 11 years PNDC and 8 years NDC, we still had cash and carry. All right? There were issues with youth employment. There were issues with public transport system. There were issues with our cocoa production.
How does that sit with President Mohammed's candidature?
Very well. I will explain to you. So, for 8 years, Kufuor was able to introduce and implement successfully the National Health Insurance Program, the Youth Employment Program, which was introduced to address the issues at the grassroots, the informal sector, the youth who could not make it up, who were loitering on our street. He was able to address that problem. Metro Mass was introduced. School feeding was introduced to address poverty issues where parents could not afford
what are you suggesting
to go to school. Now, all these within 8 years, added to, coupled with the discovery of oil, which had been in our books for many years, that eventually when Kufuor made it, the NDC described it as discovery of Ajongo and all that, because they didn't believe it, that he had made it. Now,
but you want to give them credit for doing underground works before that discovery was made.
With all these, we were able to say that for 8 years, Kufuor introduced these. So you can say, oh, Kufuor bus. The grassroots will say, oh, Kufuor bus. The grassroots could say, oh, the cocoa mass spraying program that was introduced. The school feeding, which was introduced.
They could even say Kufuor gallons.
The school feeding. Oh, I kept quiet for you.
Oh, no, I didn't say anything. I just...
Leonard, I kept quiet for you. The school feeding which was introduced. The LEAP, where old age people in a certain level of poverty, the household registration, where they were given some stipend. These were social intervention programs that the MPP for 8 years were able to introduce. Now let's come back to
the litany of things achieved.
Not litany. These are real things that you ask. You ask the question, please, Johnny. Hold on.
No, we don't have. I mean,
but you were quiet for him to make the point. Now we are talking about the Nanado government.
Okay.
We are in our second year, NPP. First year, this government demonstrated commitment to its blueprint. The blueprint as contained in the manifesto. I am going to introduce free SHS. There are problems with introduction. There are problems with implementation. But the commitment to get it done, It's there, and it's been done.
Your promise was for 3 years. You have done just 1 year. That's a question that's been raised. That Medofwa Dadam, you told us 3 years. You have done 1 year. Is that not a concern which would also mirror what you're trying to paint of President Mahama?
I've not mentioned Mahama. I'm talking about the NPP government. I've not mentioned Mahama.
I'm saying that.
I've not mentioned Mahama. I am telling you what this government has done. And I'm saying that for the first year, this government was committed to its blueprint. The foremost of them was the free SHS implementation. And I'm saying that the government did not shy away from that campaign promise, which was the promise made by Nana Akufo-Addo in 2008. Next, the nursing training allowance, the teacher training allowance, that these were demands by the students. President Mahama was bold in saying that, look, looking at the structure of my government, looking at my policy, this thing is a no-go. If you vote against me, I can't do it. He was clear, he said so. But Nanadu came. The government said, look, we are going to restore, same has been done. Let's look at graduate unemployment. The NAPCO, people have expressed their own concerns, and I agree. But the NAPCO, which is the Nation Builders Corps, is aimed at addressing, in the short term, the graduate unemployment which we have in this country. Look, if the government is talking about
I think
one district, one factory.
Council, respectfully, I think that you're...
At least if you allow me to land,
you always tell me you're going to land, but you never land.
No, I do.
I think you're broadening the conversation. My question is, you're telling me what the achievements of the government is. That's the second tier of the question I asked. My first question is, President Mahama has indicated, George Lowe says he's waiting for a formal announcement, but he's indicated his interest to contest for 2020. I'm asking you, does he stand a chance?
Oh, internally.
Okay.
Internally, he is most likely, fairness. Internally, he's most likely to carry the flag of his party.
Okay.
Internally. As to the external thing, I've already raised a point that whether or not the man qualifies is another debate.
Okay. And you're not ready to put flesh on that skeleton?
There is no skeleton at all, anyway. Now, if you would want to ask me how the NDC, I don't want to deal with Mahama, I'm talking about NDC.
Okay.
Now, back to NDC.
But he is the man who has been speaking.
Don't worry, if you read the constitution, it is talking about party nominating a person. So I don't want to deal with personalities.
Okay.
If you want to deal with individuals, personalities, then you'll be shifting. That individual comes not with his own manifesto, but he comes with party manifesto. Let's deal with government. Let's deal with the party. So now, if you want me to talk about the chances of NDC, I would say that, look, the NDC just left office after being in government for 8 years. With all the issues that we raised as Ghanaians, don't you think it would be highly unreasonable to suggest again that a new government having come into office just after 4 years, the NDC claiming that, we have suddenly found a solution to what we could not do? No. It would be unreasonable to make such a suggestion that, the NDC can better do it. And I'll give you some history. That they had this opportunity before. They had 8 years before NPP came. But within the 8 years, if you ask George, my very respected senior, that he should give us a single social intervention policy, introduce and implement successfully within the 16 years that the NDC had, he can't give one. And I challenge him on that this morning. But we can. So I put it to him.
He said
good. Right. Good. So I'm saying that for 16 years.
But then,
good. But then you can count many under 8 years.
The president.
And we have had another opportunity, and so far you can count two major.
The president said
the free SHS and the NAPCO.
Because of that. Because of that, we're wrapping up. Just 1 minute. Because of that, his opponents will have no message in 2020. George Lowe says, obviously, the president doesn't see the situation on the ground.
Mr. President is being positively optimistic. knowing what he has started. He is saying that, look, hold me on the account of my blueprint. I have said I will do A, B, C, and D. I am assuring you Ghanaians that come 2020, I would have implemented one after the other all that I told you in my campaign, to the extent that my opponent would have nothing to say.
He's a sitting president. Why is he in a rush to speak about 2020 when he has a lot more promises? One district, one factory, one village, one dam, so many other things to achieve. Why is he in a hurry to talk about elections when his promises are yet to be fulfilled?
Johnny,
in totality.
Johnny, get the statement correct again. The man goes to engage people and assures them that, look, I gave you some promises on what I will do. Should you give me the mandate? So far, the major promise I gave, which was to address the educational needs of our people, looking at the situation we find ourselves, where many drop out after JHS, I have been able to implement the free SH policy. Now, my further assurance to you again is that with all the things I put in place, come 2020, I would have implemented all of these. Let's say that the opponent would have
let me quote the president from the Independent newspaper. It says, to those who say that they are still not seeing anything, I guess that's they should wait and watch me. By the end of the 4 years, they will have nothing to say. They would acknowledge that we came to work for the development of Ghana. One by one, we're keeping our promises. Free SHS is now a reality. In September this year, the free SHS policy will cover new entrants. In addition to those, so it goes on, it says by 2020.
So, without even referring to the paper, I think the president, I quoted him right. He's not talking about campaign. All he's telling you is that, look, I gave my word. He's a lawyer. And one of the things he knows is that a lawyer, you give your word, you go by it, you earn the trust of the people. I assured you that I will implement free SHS. Don't forget that the NDC since 2008 poo-pooed the implementation of the free SHS. They said it was not possible. At least they said so. They said it was not possible.
They said they want it to be done progressively.
No, well, the way, our approach, they said our approach. Let me put it better. They said our approach of implementing free SHS was not feasible.
Is it okay? Is it fair to say that the bottlenecks we have had with the implementation, perhaps their approach would have worked if we had taken our time?
Did they even experiment the approach?
Well, they had begun with a day secondary school.
Listen. Beginning a day secondary school is not an approach, please, with the greatest respect. Everything, like the health insurance, it had a teething problem. When they started the SADA, and SADA had problems, could they sustain it? It failed. That is why I said, the NDC has had 16 years. And I continue to challenge them. They should tell me, tell Ghanaians, which single social intervention program did they implement successfully?
Council.
They could not sustain it. At least we have. And in the second year, the president has assured Ghanaians that, look, the second batch will be taken. Would implement it. In any event,
Alex, let him have a bite. You've had a lot of time.
People not getting classrooms to sit. The issue of people not getting dormitories. The issue of the science lab equipment challenges that they raise. Are they, after the first term, are they still loud on these issues again? Were effort not made to address them? And weren't they addressed? Aren't head teachers now cooperating? Aren't people embracing the free SHS? At least in my constituency, there's a secondary school. Winisec. The challenges that were faced initially have since minimized.
Alex, I thank you.
Because the government has demonstrated commitment.
George, take a bite, quick rebuttal, if you may.
With a specific issue I raised.
Well,
single, they should give one.
No, but that's one of the.
At least that one would address it quickly.
You see,
he won't.
I laugh when the MPP thinks that Ghana can only be seen through their eyes. In any case, to start with, even before I answer his subject, all the things that he mentioned, Johnny, which of them was really started by the MPP? He mentioned free and national health insurance. National Health Insurance was being piloted long before they came in. So he should forget about that. It is not their baby. The fact that government had changed and they came and continued the policy doesn't make their school feeding. School feeding was not started by Ghana government. Was school feeding started by Ghana government? Was started by the Netherlands. LEAP was not started by Ghana government. LEAP was started under an IMF. So in real terms, NPP only ran their mouth about policies that others have started and they've come. Even the energy sector they are talking about, the oil sector, the
ESLA,
and all the things that they are talking about, there is none that they can hit their chest and do it. Let's come to free SHS. Why? When they have come, I am saying that we started all those things. They just came to continue. They were all under our watch.
So you say you are not able to complete, but you are a good starter.
No, we are saying that yes, when there is a change of government, what do you do? Free SHS, didn't we start free day?
So, but 8 years is enough to.
No, you see,
started free day. Free day what?
You are not even.
You said you started free day.
Free day secondary school.
Yes,
which was free.
Oh, you are not in Ghana yet.
They started free day.
The schools that were constructed. You know, President Mabo promised to construct.
Please, don't mislead Ghanaians. You mean they started free day school? That if you are a day student, it's free for you. Is that what you are saying? Is that what he said he started?
Go and read.
Johnny, please.
Council, what was the?
No. Don't let us confuse.
Don't mix the two also.
You mean they started free SHS and said day school was free. If you are a day student, it was free. Is that what you are saying?
Is that what you are saying? The 200 schools. The 200 schools that were supposed to have been constructed.
Please, we are not talking about building.
What was the motive of this?
What motive? Please stop this. I beg you.
No, but he's asking you a question.
So he's not asking me a question.
I'm asking you. What was the
said that they started. Hold on.
And the schools were rolled out, weren't they?
How many were built?
No, it's not about the number.
Please. You are saying the issue is not about building or constructing schools.
Cancel.
I have asked a legitimate question. Mr. Lowe, give us a single social intervention program which was introduced and implemented by your government. 16 years.
All the ones that you mentioned was started by us.
Free day school.
I'm saying that all the ones that you mentioned.
Alex,
I told you. All the ones that you are laying.
Give me one.
I've told you, even National Health Insurance was started at
where?
Watch.
At where?
Oh, in Kwanzaa and other places. There were several pilots.
And where? Several? You are not saying several?
Several pilots.
Council.
Oh, come on, what are you talking about? I'm telling you that, listen, I'm telling you that the Danish government started a free school feeding that you are talking about.
Under which government?
Alex, before you allow him. Oh, yes.
Please allow him to.
I'm saying that platform of fact.
Yes, of course.
Are you saying the NDC era and you don't want to challenge the journey?
Go and
somebody
check.
comes to mislead.
No.
The fact
I
the NDC and the Rollins. No. You can't take exception. Are you saying and the Rollins? You started school feeding in this country.
Alex, hold on.
Did you start school feeding?
Alex, hold on for him.
Did the government of Ghana start school feeding? What are you saying? Please.
So my question.
Did we ever know school feeding?
Oh, what are you talking
about?
Under
NDC?
Then you need to go and read
in Rollins era. You said it was started under Rollins era.
I said that the Ghana government didn't start free school feeding. So what are you talking about? And in any case, when the Netherlands government...
you don't want to give the MPP credit for...
Wait a minute. At the time when the government pulled out, we took over and started funding with public money. LEAP, the same thing. So what are they talking about? Which of these projects did they put government money in?
Okay, so gentlemen, I think we've had enough of this. He said he's answering. He's answered it by.
No. You are not putting it to him to answer. You are not insisting.
Council, you promised to answer the question.
Which program did you successfully introduce? Which one did you implement?
We had implemented it.
Oh, so
before.
Oh, I see.
So you start, but you can't finish and they finish.
No, we start. We are out of office, so it's not that we can't finish. If you're out of office, I can finish. Free SHS, when we started the processes for free SHS, we said we were going to do it progressively, and that we will not do it full blown, where, like they promised, everybody going to secondary school will be free, isn't it?
The next batch will start in September.
No, we are not talking about next batch. Go back to the NPP manifesto. There's nothing like next batch. They failed Ghanaians. They deceived Ghanaians. And that is the important point.
Tomorrow, we're told that the defense minister and the interior minister will play before Parliament following the clashes in Tamale. Council, I'll start with you. I've heard some of your reservations about summoning the two ministers. They will appear tomorrow anyway. Is that the way to go?
Well, my view is that looking at Article 103 of the Constitution. You see, Parliament, as my senior colleague well knows, operates at the committee level and at the plenary.
Right.
And a situation like this, my own view is that to the extent that the Defense and Interior Committee has so much engaged the ministers, and the committee has since been told that the military and police high command have already started their own investigations. What the committee is waiting for is a report to do further interrogation, engage the ministers. My view is that Ghanaians would better appreciate the issues and the extent to which efforts have been made to resolve it if the committee is allowed to do its work, lay its report before plenary debate on same, then thereafter, if there are issues, the minister can come in to address him. But to prematurely say that the minister must come and say what? Merely come and make a statement.
These calls were made by the
minority leader
and the deputy majority leader.
I am saying that
on the floor of parliament, they don't know the process.
No, it's not about they don't know the processes, please.
They didn't know that the committee...
It is about approach. Hold on. It's about approach. And I am saying, with the greatest respect, that the best approach, in accord with the constitution, is to allow committee to work. Look, my senior is here. He knows that when we engage each other at the committee level, we do a better work. The plenary is for the cameras, where we go overly partisan. But at the committee, you'll be surprised that your senior on your side can score you if you even attempt to be unduly partisan. At the committee, where the cameras are off, you are able to deal with the issues, discuss them dispassionately, and able to put together a report. I am saying it will be better off if the committee is allowed to do its work. Committee must not be stampeded. I have given my indication that, look, I would make an application for variation of the orders of Mr. Speaker. It's within my right. I'm a member of the committee. I think that we should be allowed to do our work, lay our report. Parliament should debate it. Minister can come in, and then we end the matter.
I hear you. Council, take a final bite on this and let's...
well, you see, Parliament is master of its own rules. So whatever it is, we want the best interest. I think that in one vein, I also agree with him when he says that maybe the committee should be allowed to do it well. Because at this point, if indeed we can stand by the words of the joint military and police committee saying that they are going to conduct investigation, it tells me that the investigation is still ongoing. So when the minister comes, he's coming to talk platitudes, coming to speak English. Because if they haven't finished their investigation, he hasn't got all the facts. So for me, I think that...
Is it a knee-jerk reaction? The call, the invitation.
You cannot say that
knowing full well that this is the structure of Parliament, the committees have been set to work.
Yes.
And they have actually started working. Then we get
you see where you have a situation like we have in our hands. There's even panic in the system.
Right.
And so it will not be out of place for people to say, look, we want to hear from the minister what is happening.
Right.
But from hindsight, you could also say that, okay, once these people say they are doing their investigation, you will help the minister better when a report is presented to him for which he can come and speak to and answer questions.
Right. And the committee has so much
so
thank you very much. Lawyer George Low is a member of the NDC's legal team, and he's a former member of Parliament for Newday. He's joined us here. Good morning, George, and thank you. Of course, you'll see me at the bar. And
this morning he decided not to answer.
Lawyer Afenyo Marking coming out is the MP for Efutu out there in the central regions. A member of the MPP's communication team. I thank you very much for your time. Have a great time. Don't flare your emotions up. They're friends anyway. They'll go and drink tea. We'll be back with sports and more. Stay with us.
Welcome back. So you're still here on TV3 New Day, and we're going to be talking about the National Household Registry and, of course, the Firm series, which is coming up tomorrow, which they're here to discuss with us to get us to understand better what the Ghana National Household Registry is all about. I have Alex Ansa. He's the MIS Quality Officer for the GNHR. Also, Emmanuel Mausi Foley. He's a software developer at the same office. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
So get us abreast with what it means to say Ghana National Household Registry. What is that all about, and how do we get involved as citizens?
Okay, let me start. Thanks again for the opportunity. The Ghana National Household Registry is a unit that was set under the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. Okay. The mandate was simple: to create a database of all households in the country, such that all social protection agencies can tap into that registry and then pick their beneficiaries.
Right.
So basically, that's our mandate for the country. Yes.
Okay, but how different is this from the census we have in terms of acquiring information already?
To what you explained is just an avenue to provide targeting.
Okay.
So to go down to the household, particular individuals who are vulnerable. Okay. That's the extreme poor, non-poor, and the poor. So the general information we gather here, we want to be able to, when an intervention, we want to know that this particular person in this household is disabled and is at this age, or is not of school-going age. Right. So the intervention goes to him. It prevents duplication of activities, and we should know that we will keep track of anybody who comes for the information. Right. We can keep track of this. A particular person has been on leave for this number of years. He's come out of leave. He's now into the block farming intervention. Right. So we can track, and you don't get duplication, and people don't get more than what they deserve. Right, certainly. That's very important. But are you doing this across the whole Ghana, and how are you going about the process?
Yes, we are collecting data for the whole country. Okay. Obviously, you cannot do it at a go. So we started from the Upper West region, which we are done. We are finished with the Upper West region. We just finished Upper East region also. Okay. We are just in the final stages of moving out from the region. So GSS is there trying to do some certification of our data. Then from there we move to the northern region, and then the remaining 7 other regions. So we are doing this for all the region, and everybody is entitled or eligible to register. Everybody go to every household, whether you are poor or non-poor. We go to every household and collect data on all households. Yes. Okay, so is it an optional process where I'm just home, you come, and then we have a discussion, you collect your data and you're out, or I have to come to actually invite you to my home to collect the data? What is it?
So before we enter a community and get into the households, we do sensitization. We give radio announcements. Right. Look, they organize debates. The chiefs and people are invited and informed about it. We give enough information. Right. It's optional. We read a consent statement to you, and we advise you of the benefits of joining the social register of interventions coming in. So you choose to join, but we advise that everybody joins.
Right. But tell us about the forum series that's happening tomorrow. Where, what time do we pay?
Okay, so in order to make our data known for the outside world to know what we have, the richness of data we have, the Ghana National House Register, and how it can benefit governmental agencies and non-governmental agencies. We are holding a seminar tomorrow at the Fiesta Royale. The time will be right after I meet the press. Our minister is having a program tomorrow, so right after that, you meet at the Fiesta Royale, and then elaborate more on the data we have, how it can benefit academia, governmental agencies, non-governmental agencies, and even individuals. So they can all come on board.
So who's invited?
Everybody is invited.
Everybody can be there. Well, guys, so we all heard it there. Let's go out there to Fiesta Royale tomorrow so that we can all help make the Ghana National Household Register a real one, and we can all benefit from it. As Alex Ansan, who's the MIS Quality Officer for the GNHR, and Emmanuel Mausifoli, software developer at GNHR, have said to us. Let's all go there and help make Ghana National Household Registry a thing real. Let's go out for a break.
Welcome back. Happy birthday to Reverend Dr. Boja. This is from Babina Finwalker. And to you, Iabu Sumpim at Enyinem. And also to you, Roland Kwa, it's your birthday today. And to our very own Nana Jomo Sapon, we're told that you lost your mother. It's a week today. The family is gathering out there. You're the executive chairman of Radford University College in Kumasi. From Mr. Williams, Fred Williams, and the family. Condolences to you. Let's talk about shea butter. It's out there in abundance. It's in the northern region and parts of the savannah growing areas. But have we taken full advantage of it? And what, for example, are the prospects in terms of our economic gains? Issa Suleiman is the CEO of Savannah Plantation and is joining us. Issa, good morning. How are you doing, sir?
Fine, thank you.
Everything okay?
Fine,
what is the outlook of shea butter in this country? I'm asking because prior to the 2016 election, we had almost all the candidates NDC, MPP, PNC, PPP. Everybody was talking about it. 2 years down the line, you think we've done enough about it?
Well, I would say not so much, looking at the potentials that share actually holds for this country. On the average, we earn about 22 million US dollars in export and into this country.
Okay.
Yet the crop grows in the wild. So if we were to make conscious effort to establish share plantation, then we will have been earning about 88 million US dollars per annum for this country. But because it grows in the wild, only few are able to be picked.
Right.
And no one owns it. So all the agronomic practices that will boost yield, protect the crop, are absent.
So are you saying that there are no proper share plantations that we're taking our time to nurture like we do for cocoa, coffee?
For now, the answer is emphatic no.
Why?
Yes, that is the question. Only few of us have started establishing the plantation. And that is why we have to congratulate your station to bring to the fore the need for government, for investors, to look at establishing share plantations.
Let's look at, we have an agric ministry, and one of their key mandates is to research into some of these things. Do we have tangible research details to be able to propel us into economic freedom through the gospel of share butter?
Yeah, there is a research station established at Bole in 1976 to research into share. But I think they are still at the research stage. We don't yet have technologies that have been imparted to farmers to cultivate share, as I know now. But research is ongoing. And more so also, Cocoa Board is in charge of share. But the attention that share deserves is not coming from Cocoa Board. At least some efforts should have been made to establish the share plantations. So that is why we have serious retardation in the establishment of share plantation. But the danger is, if we don't start now, the share tree population will become extinct.
Why? Why would it be?
Yes, because now bushfires every year will destroy a certain percentage.
All right.
Now the share tree is very hard and it forms very good charcoal. So they are being felled for charcoal. 3, for firewood as well. 4, most of the trees are very overaged and they are diseased by mistletoe.
What's that?
Mistletoe is a parasitic plant that destroys even cocoa. Oranges, you find them there. Once they attack the plant, they take over the entire plant, and at times it loses its originality. So yield is dwindled to the minimum, and with time it kills.
What should we do?
Now, there are quite a number of organizations that have nurseries, share nurseries. We think that we should encourage farmers and be supported to.
But by encouraging, what do you mean? They should make speeches for you to hear?
They should be supported in terms of resources, like we do for other crops. Like cocoa, for example, we know they help the farmers a lot. We hear cashew, they help farmers a lot. I know this year they're planting for industrialization or for investment. They are helping a lot of farmers.
Planting for food and jobs, you mean?
No, this is under the Ministry for Local Government. So it's one of the crops chosen, but unfortunately, not much.
But every year there's a National Farmers Day. You people represent, or your team represents.
Unfortunately, every year they award share nut pickers. Not share nut farmers.
Why?
And we have to move away.
Have you raised that concern? Have you called the attention to that? Look, the pickers are there, but we also farm.
Yes, we've had occasion to do that, but since the focus is not there, we need to do more. At least, if you ask a lot of people today how many share farmers there are, go to the government sources, they'll tell you there's none. But actually, they are share farmers.
So, let me know from you, can share butter grow anywhere in this country?
No, even the whole world. Ghana, we are among the few countries where shea grows.
Okay.
There are only 22 countries in the whole world.
In the whole world that
yes.
can grow it.
Yeah, that
and Ghana is privileged to be one of them.
Privileged to be one.
So let's look at international best practices.
Yes.
We know that the gestation period in some of the countries where shea grows had been reduced so that you don't have to wait for a long time before you harvest.
That's right.
Are we able to do that here?
In fact, we, on our farm, Savannah Plantation at Daboya, we did a pilot farm. We have 12 acres. We did in situ grafting. September 2017.
Okay.
February 2018. The plants are bearing fruits, and it has been 4 years.
So tell me, how much do we sell? Like 1 ton of cocoa has a price. How much is 1 ton of shea on the world market?
It's $600.
$600?
Yes.
Per ton?
Per ton.
That's a lot of money.
A lot of money. That's what I'm saying. On the average, we earn $22 million US.
Right.
In shea.
Okay.
And that is just the few that is picked.
Okay.
So if you were to make conscious effort and harvest 100% from plantation.
What are your projections?
That will be 88 million minimum.
Wow. But have you had this chat with the ministry? The Agric minister, for example. Have you had a chat with him?
Well, we are dealing
with a heart-to-heart conversation.
We've been dealing with the relevant authorities, Cocoa Board. But when you deal with that, you can't go straight to the minister. You have to pass through the.
But if they are blocking you, go to the minister.
Well, we shall see what to do. Yes.
I thank you very much. I'm grateful. So your closing thoughts will be what exactly? That we have share here, we are not paying attention to it, and that if we did, we could benefit some more from it.
Exactly.
What should we do from this point forward?
Now, there are quite a number of organizations raising shea seedlings. We should make sure those shea seedlings are established on the field for shea plantations.
Okay.
Giving all the necessary support, like they do for cocoa, cashew, and other crops. Then encourage more people to come into the plantation. And I think we'll be making a headway.
How much, the big question is, we need money, but how much money do we need to leapfrog? How much?
For an acre of a shea plantation, you need 500 Ghana cedis.
Only 500 cedis?
500 Ghana for an acre to be established.
Wow. And how much does it take to maintain it?
All in all per year, 500 Ghana cedis.
So if I have 1,000 Ghana, I can own an acre of shea butter.
2 acres.
2 acres, yes. and make a lot of money.
Yes, within 4 or 5 years. Just like cocoa, like cashew, and you'll be harvesting.
The people up north, are they aware of this? Are they aware of the material or economic gains that they stand to benefit from it?
In fact, minus shea nuts, the socio-economic life of the women in the northern regions will be terrible.
How so?
Because it is their cocoa. At the end of the season, every woman must go and pick shea nuts. And that is where they keep in their rooms during the difficult periods.
Wait, is it a shea, the one we smell on our body?
Yes, the one. But you have to pick the nuts and then process into the shea butter. Okay. So they pick the nuts, and then is their asset. They treasure it, they keep it in
Is it edible?
It's edible.
It's edible.
It's edible, it's oil. And in fact, it's one of the best oil, very low cholesterol.
Wow. Harriet Azumda doesn't go home. If she does, I'm sure she would bring me. But I thank you very much. Issa Suleiman is the CEO of Savannah Plantation. We hope that this gets to those in authority so we're able to get some attention towards it. But we'll talk about education after this break. The widening gap between those in the south, those up north, and in other deprived areas. What can we do? That conversation is coming at you right after this. Now, we're told that students in the Sabungida MA Junior High School in the Nanumba North municipalities study under hard conditions. In fact, one of the classrooms that they study in belongs to a resident of the community. Take a look at the story briefly. We'll get into a conversation about education. Anissa Fai is seated and the Honorable Matthew Yingdam as well is seated. Take a look at this.
Sabonjida, a farming settlement, is located about 19 kilometers away from the Nanumba North municipal capital, Bimbila. It is also a boundary community between Nanumba North and East Gonja. The community has a large population but remains undeveloped. Education in this part of the northern region is not the best, as the only junior high school serving Sabonjida and its adjoining communities has remained in a deplorable state over 2 decades. The sheds were put up in former President Jerry John Rawlings' regime in 1992, but has since not received any major facelifts. School authorities say they occasionally mobilize town folk to erect a wall around the structure to save students and teachers from bad weather. On some occasions, the students contribute their quota.
The wall is not strong. It needs to be a block form so that nothing will happen to it. But the way we use our hands to build it, it's not strong. That's why it has destroyed like that. And if masters are teaching, we're not getting it. The only thing we'll do is that after the classes, we'll go and sit somewhere which is comfortable so that we can learn and get the thing. That was the way we're doing.
But their efforts have not helped much as the walls continue to wash away with the slightest rainfall. 3 years ago, Member of Parliament for Nanumba North, Dominic Nitiwo, bought a trip of sand to mold blocks for the school, but nothing has since been done.
Well, according to him, he said he was coming to mold blocks for a new structure, and then even made us to clear, see that space behind us, to clear the place. That was where he was coming to make them set up, do the setting out, and then put up a new school. Me, looking at the whole thing, my hope, or the way we are seeing the whole thing, if not God's intervention, I see no hope in this case.
Teachers say teaching and learning is not effective here.
When I came here with the first batch, they were able to make grade 13 up to 30. They have not been able to maintain that because of the problems that faces us.
The school has insufficient furniture, and so students are compelled to bring their chairs and tables from home. Students whose parents cannot afford a table sit on the floor.
You all know who a farmer is, right? Yes.
Most of them, they don't have furniture to use. For some years now, we don't get from this assembly any dual decks for the children to use. So they provide their own. Looking at the northern part of the country here, some of them, they don't even know the essence of education. So they are not willing. So to continue. So we are just pleading to the government to come and support us.
Again, the school, which has an enrollment of about 100, has no physical structure as an office. Property of the school are kept with individuals in the community.
We went to the community to ask for somebody's sleeping room, and we do keep our register and other teaching and learning materials there. Certain times it even the rooms link and even destroy parts of our materials, the school materials and the textbooks that is being provided by the GS.
New teachers refuse postings to the school. This teacher, for instance, has provided voluntary service since the last 9 years.
They will post the teachers, they won't come because of the structure. And they are brothers. I have brothers, my direct brothers here. So if I feel like going to stay at the house, teachers are not coming to teach. It means we are losing education. So that's why some of us are still there.
He said attempts to get him absorbed by Ghana Education Service have failed.
CS will come around, the heads will come around, directors will go for several workshops, and they see me in the district being voluntary teachers taught for this number of years. And I'm not given that chance. But people who have just competed behind me are given the chance, they are recruiting them. And me being the voluntary, serving voluntarily up to this time, have that certificate in my hand. I'm denied the distance, so I feel discouraged.
The school has 2 ICT teachers, but for years, information communication technology is taught in abstract because they have no textbooks.
To send or to receive what? Information. And that is what we are going to base on to learn what we call ICT.
None of the students has seen a computer before, so the mission team showed them a laptop, and this is how they reacted.
I hope this is your first time of seeing the laptop. Yes, sir.
If master is teaching us ICT, everything he taught, we are not understand it. If he brought everything in the board, if you seen it, he will talk plenty things about it, but we not understand it. And we're saying that we should be paying that so that the government will help us to get laptop or computer, and we are happy that we have touched laptop today, and we are so happy. If you help us to get laptop, we'll be happy for what we are doing for us.
Sabongida has water challenges, and so students spend longer hours searching for water, thereby impacting negatively on their education. Stakeholders' commitment would be required to make the Sabongida Junior High School a better place for both staff and learners.
The structure you see right behind me is what accommodates students of Sabongida and 7 other communities in the Nanumba North municipality of the Northern region. Its current state has forced a lot of students to stay away from school. Efforts by politicians to address the situation have failed. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Sabongida.
Stanley Bleu out there. Good morning to you, Dr. Wejo Wase of the University of Ghana Business School. I know your passion is some of these issues, but we're joined this morning by Hanis Hafa, is a consultant and educationist. Hanis, good morning to you, and thank you very much for your time. And the Honourable Matthew Nyendam is the MP for Kwandai constituency, First Deputy Majority Whip. Chief, good morning. I thank you very much for your time. At least I can shake hands with you. But at least let me come to you first of all. This is the story out there, one of many. Are we as a country committed to education as much as we preach it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if you look at the fact that we've been independent since 1957, and we see these kinds of conditions, it's very appalling. But then this is the African story. And when I say the African story, I mean the irresponsibility of people who are supposed to be in charge of these things. And they are there. You know, if you look at the lifestyle of people who are supposed to lead education revolution in this country, and you compare it to the depravity in these areas, it's a bloody shame. But you know, it's I've written quite a bit about the dilemma of the African child, in the sense that the older people, this is really the bottom line.
Okay.
The older people have absolutely no respect for the younger people. You know, and I've seen too much of it. You know, my training has taken me from Accra all the way as far back as the north. The Mamprusi area and so on. Absolute disrespect for young people, and then the side effect of that is that as they too grow up, they also pass on that disrespect to the younger people. This is the situation in which we find ourselves now. Are you with me on this one?
I am, Honourable. So, Parliament is supposed to have oversight responsibility. In fact, there's a whole education committee, you know, a select committee in Parliament regarding this. Knowing full well that a country will break down if it has bad education, because if they become doctors, people will lose their lives at their hands. If they become engineers, buildings will collapse at their hands. If they become lawyers, people will go to jail for no reason. If they become judges, people would... I mean, it's an electrification of problems. Is Parliament worried about this?
Well, good morning, and good morning to viewers. I think every rational human being should be worried about this. And Parliament obviously is worried. Every member of Parliament, I'm sure Dominic will not be happy to hear this story. Mission is doing very well. It cuts across. Right. When you look at the work you are doing. I watched a video yesterday, which telecasts one of the stories from my area. We are all worried. And let me take it from where my uncle just stopped. Sometimes politicians, when you see such a story, everybody, because we control the purse.
Right.
And for that matter, if things are not going well, obviously it's on your doorsteps. And it's not a good story. We can never be proud of this at this particular time.
Beyond the worry, what's there?
Beyond the worry is how to be pragmatic enough to start some of these things, get some of these things done. Sabonjira is not a small place. Okay. I know them very well. Those who spoke, most of them, I know them. It's quite a big place. And to get this structure at Sabonjira at this particular time is very worrying. And like you rightly said, it's a story of many. It's not just limited to Sabonjira alone. And I think that Get Fund, normally that is where most of this infrastructure is coming from. Get Fund is the lead when it comes to infrastructure development. And I think we should be doing more. We should be doing more. And it also boils down to the resources.
When the member of parliament who's aspiring to go to parliament mounts the platform, you promise everything. In the story, we're told how the defense minister, Honorable Dominic Nitiwo, had gone there, bought a trip of sand, said he is going to mold blocks. He even asked the people to clear the ground in anticipation of a construction. It's been how many years now? And there's been no sign of his shadow. In fact, the headmaster in the story is his direct elder brother. So if blood is thicker than water, and if you want to go by that analogy,
it tells you that we have a lot on our hand as politicians. And unfortunately, things like this or stories like this are directed straight to you, the member of parliament. And you control very limited resources. Very, very
but
limited
you have the
resources.
influence.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do. I don't dispute that. It is like a whole nation. Everybody goes to Get Fund to lobby for projects. It's not like Wole Pandai or Bimbila. All of us, the 275 members of parliament, we go there. All the ministers, you go there. We're talking about the whole country. So the resources are stretched. So for all you know, he's fetched a trip of sand there, which is a good idea. Obviously, he wants to do something for the people. But unfortunately, when you go to Bimbila, it's one of the biggest constituencies in Ghana. When it comes to the land map, it's the biggest in the northern region. So, for all you know, he's invested somewhere and you couldn't actually come to...
Mr. Alpha, let me come to you. So, there's this situation coupled with what exists in Accra, in mainline Takoradi, wherever it is, children in preparatory schools, public schools, private schools, who have access to the things they need to learn. In fact, a child is waking up this morning, goes to school, he has a desk, he has a books, he's seen a computer before, so he has advantage over this one. They will sit for the same exam at the end of the period. You are an educationist and a consultant. What does that tell you?
Well, it tells me that we have unequal opportunities in the country. But I will address that later. I'm beginning to look at the irresponsibilities of the people in charge, including the MPs. You know, the idea is this. This Africa, where people know the conditions, but they are more interested in their own self-aggrandizement and their own alleviation of poverty than the young people there. I mean, I've seen too much of it. And frankly, it's come to a point where people really have to be responsible in the sense that as you become an MP, you need to begin to share with people what your vision is and what it is that the expected outcomes in your tenure.
Are we not overburdening the MPs? For example, there's a local governance structure. There's a DC, Metro friend, Director of Education.
The MP.
What do they do?
They should coordinate all of that. But what I'm saying is this, all along the line, various aspects of irresponsibility in terms of the people there. And then the other thing is that people take this as normal. You'll be surprised. As far as people who live in the area, possibly, in places that I've seen, I mean, they take it as normal because the point is, hey, that's how I grew up. And if these kids grew up the same way, so be it. I've seen too much of it. And I'll give you an example. I remember, maybe you don't see this. I want you to understand the cultural aspects of the provision. You have to understand that. That's the fundamentals. When Ghana became independent in 1957, I was in class 3. I was about 10 years old. The teachers went about telling the parents that this is a new day, this is freedom. So let's put shoes on our children's feet. I want you to see the culture. And these were parents who were farmers, goldsmiths, traders and so on. You know what they told the teachers?
No.
So I'm not going to spoil my child by putting shoes on a child's feet. That's how I grew up. They need to go through the same deprivation. I'm not saying that it's the same situation now, but the undercurrent is irresponsibility of people. I mean, what I'm saying, there's no sympathy, there's no empathy, there's no passion for the children in this country. And it's really an indictment on us. I've seen too much of it. And even right here in Accra, go to some of these public schools and see the toilets there. And then you ask us, are people on the payroll? What on earth are they doing? You know, so we keep revisiting these things over and over again, but until such time that there's commitment and that people are held responsible because they're on the payroll.
They are sitting for the same exam with their folks.
Okay, back to the question now.
They have not seen a computer before. They saw Stanley's laptop and they were amazed.
Now, the issue is this. Again, we want to begin to understand what decentralization is.
Right.
Some areas are more endowed than others. So now, if you look at a situation like this, the first thing you ask yourself is this: how can we raise the children in this community, taking into account the local environment and taking into account the endowment there?
Right.
You know, the need of these kids today are not, the immediate need is probably not a computer,
okay,
but it is how they can add value to the resources there.
Okay.
So they come out of the deprivation. That's very important. The point I'm raising is this: Ghana is one of the richest countries in the world in terms of the natural endowment that we have. You'll be surprised the produce in this particular area. But then science has to be targeted to this area in terms of how we can help young people to add value to where they are. Now, remember,
but that's long term, Mr. Hafa.
But we have to start now.
The quick problem is that come May, June, maybe July, they'll be sitting for the BEC. They are obviously disadvantaged.
Under no circumstances can these kids here do an examination in ICT. It doesn't make sense.
But they do it anyway.
But it doesn't have to be that way. And then the other thing is this: we don't have to teach everybody the same thing at the same time.
WIAC has a different view. They think that it's West African examination, everybody should write the same thing.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that everybody should write everything, but these people cannot write ICT. But then what I'm saying is this: let's focus on science for the particular area.
Right.
You know, WIAC is an old-fashioned institution.
Really?
WIAC is built on the premise that chew, pour, pass, and forget business.
Okay.
You know, you have to get information, you have to memorize the information, and do true or false, multiple choice, and so on. Not all learners are that way inclined.
Okay. Honorable, so Anisafa says there's a bit of laziness on your part. You're on the payroll. What exactly is your role? Sometimes I believe that MPs are overburdened because everybody picks their bowl and they are coming to your doorstep. Are you the cause of your own woes?
Well, we are not, but unfortunately we are victims of circumstance. So we have to carry it. Like Radley said, you go campaigning, you talk about a lot of things as a member of parliament. You're campaigning on the ticket of your party. Okay. And obviously when you are campaigning for the president as well. So sometimes you carry all these things along. So some of the things you say you want to do, obviously you think your government will be in power, some of these resources will be available for you to implement them. Like he rightly said, yes, he's not a politician. Even if he's a politician, he's currently not involved. And for that matter, I will permit him for some of the issues he said. Obviously, it's easy to point accusation fingers on politicians when it comes to self-aggrandizement and all those things.
But the issues he's raising are critical.
I agree. I don't
because you see, MPs mount the platform. They tell you we'll do A, B, C, D. When you go back asking them, they tell you they are legislators, not change.
That's what I'm saying. Unfortunately, that is our cross, and we must carry it.
Okay.
Because even professors will sit on a program like this and begin to accuse MPs when there's no development, knowing very well, like you rightly said, the MPs control just about less than 10% of what resources go to the districts. All goes to the assembly. But unfortunately, those people are not seen.
These children,
like you rightly said, obviously, it's not a good story.
Okay.
They are on their knees when it comes. You compare them to colleagues where Takrade, Kumasi, and all those. Somebody has never seen a laptop. This is the first time he's seen a laptop. And I will tell you, I don't feel ashamed saying this. My first time I saw what is the name? Regulating traffic. What is the name of this thing? Traffic lights.
Okay.
Was somewhere 2001.
Wow.
You don't believe it. That was the first time I saw traffic lights.
Where did you see this?
I saw it when I came to Kumasi to visit my sister.
Wow.
You won't believe it. That is a story. I had completed training college by then.
And that was the first
That
time
was my first time I saw a traffic light.
Wow.
Are you getting? You see, and I don't believe that because I didn't get it right from the beginning, somebody should not get it. Well, some people think that way. I don't think that way. And I think that these children, like he said, we as Ghanaians, we've not structured our education.
What is your commitment? What commitment are you making to the people of Ghana this morning?
My commitment, like, come again if you say what commitment.
What commitment are you making in terms of you're the majority, deputy majority chief?
Yes.
First deputy.
Yes.
What commitment are you making? You speak on numerous issues in Parliament. Yes. You're an educationist yourself.
Yes.
What commitment are you making to the people?
I don't control resources.
No,
so
you don't control resources.
About my commitment. My commitment is to make sure that I lead the developmental agenda of this country.
So that's
and
your
the
commitment.
government. Yes, that's my commitment, to make sure that my brothers, like I'm seeing, what best can we do as a nation to also give them a facelift?
And you have the final word. What should be our commitment as a country?
The commitment is this: the MPs, the district assembly, they should be living in that community. That's the first point. And they are in Accra doing what? You know, the issue is this: when you are committed, you are at the scene where the need is. But what happens is that typically people get these positions, and the first thing they do is a scrum, and they come to a place like Accra. So what I'm saying is this: we need to be where the action is. Look, if you cannot be where the action is and be with the people that you are speaking from, then why should anybody take you seriously? That is the issue now. That is the issue. And because we have a bunch of people.
But you are elected and you are supposed to be working in Accra. How are you going to live?
But now you should be working there. Then you should make sure that... How much time do you spend in Accra?
Because almost from Tuesday to Friday, you are supposed to be in Parliament.
Then that's a problem right there.
So how do you expect the person to go and live with the people?
I expect you to be there.
Thank you very much. This conversation is made possible by Star Ghana as part of our Missions Ghana initiative, and also with funding from the European Union, DFID, UK Aid. We're grateful to all our partners for making it possible. Matthew Nyenam is a member of Parliament for the Pandai constituency, the first deputy and majority whip. And Anissa Fai is a consultant in education. Gentlemen, I thank you very much for your time. We're grateful. Happy birthday to you. Reverend Dr. Boja is from Babina Finwalk. It's your birthday today, Osofo. Happy birthday. And also to you, Roland Kwao, and to Yabo Sumpim at Yinem. It's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. If it's your birthday, enjoy the best of the day and win. Deepest condolence to Nana Jomo Sapon. You lost your mother a week ago. I told the family's gathering today. You're the executive chairman of Radford University College. Deepest condolence to you. Win. It's Monday. Make it shine. And to the children out there, we hope that help comes to you very quickly. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm grateful for your time.